Hi, today I want to have a shot at some plastic welding. So I've got some damage on my motorcycle and I've figured out that probably the cheapest way to fix it is to use a plastic welding gun. Having not particularly found glues that work very well in the past. So I bought the gun. I got it from Lazada. It came from China. Don't know if it works yet. I haven't tried it. This will be my absolute first time plastic welding. So here's a welding gun. Freshly arrived. There's a little set of instructions comes with it, but I did what everybody does. I watched YouTube, so I've had my couple of hours of YouTube training. Hopefully it's enough. So here's the problem. It's a crack in the headlight housing. This is a sealed unit. It was caused by dropping the bike. And there's a split, but there's also a hole in this casing. Some parts are still inside the housing. So as I see it, the options are: number one, gaffer tape, like I've done here. Cheap, but not a long-term solution. Also gets pretty messy. Glue, I just find glues don't work that well. And there's also a largish hole to deal with. Get a new part. That's at least 10,000 baht from Triumph, maybe more. There's got to be a cheaper solution than that, I think. Epoxy is one way to do it, but epoxy is not that strong. It tends to split. And then my mate Wayne suggested plastic welding, which got me to look that up. It's a new term for me. But I did some YouTubing, and hey presto, next thing I've got a gun from China on the way. So I decided to take the whole mounting off. Reason being, I can see the bits of plastic in there, but it's pretty tricky to get them out. So if I take the mounting off, I can try it upside down. Quick disclaimers: I'm trying to do this on a budget, so I don't want to pay for top welding gear. I don't want to pay for a completely new housing. I want to see if this can be done for a low price. And I'm definitely not an expert on welding or plastic welding. This is the first time I've done it, so this is just to show what possibly can be done. I'm not trying to say this is the best way to do anything or the only way to do anything. It's purely it's an experiment for me, just to see how effective it is. Okay, and with that, let's get on with it. Starting with a piece of metal tape inside the crack. That'll also give a little bit of protection against this piece falling inside when I put it back in place, which it's apt to do. There we go. Well, that's not too bad. Is there any other bit that will fit in there? Small enough or big enough? This bit's from here, but no, I don't think. I think that might be pushing it. I think I'm going to do that with gauze. Right. So we have these. It's like a suture. I'm going to chuck that in here, heat it up. We're going to stick it into the plastic. And it's going to knit that crack together, we hope. Okay.
one. Now I have already learned with these that you don't push too hard, you don't let them get too hot. And you don't put them too deep, or you can't get those blooming things off. And if you can't get them off, then they're always sticking out. And these another one here. Okay, so let's get away from that bend. Beautiful. So don't hold that crack shut. Get the water out. This thing held in place then. Definitely don't go through the plastic this time, because your hand's on the other side of it. Done. You can feel the heat coming through it. Okay, at this point we've got a bit of a weak screw joint, so I'm just going to try one here as well. Just to reinforce that. I wonder if we can sneak a second one. I think we probably can. Okay, before I try the big crack, whoever this is, I'll try and get those spikes out. So what I've learned about these, try not to cut them, you try to wiggle them, because then they'll break further down. But sometimes they can pull the staple out. But that's a bit better than trying to cut that. Yep, so far so good. Yes. Yep. Beautiful. There you go. Kind of looks like you got to push them. Outwards. Oh, that's nice. Admittedly not beautiful, but it's neat so far anyway. These ones look tricky. I'm very happy with that, because I got them all out without any of them leaving a big stick or a small stick sticking up that I then have to try and find some way to get rid of. Now it's just a question of making these look tidy, but it might be better to leave them. No, maybe no, because yeah, I'll try and cover them with plastic. But I've got a hole here to deal with as well, so I have to figure out this thing. Right, that's all the weak points, I think. Okay, not big enough to try and seal that in place. That's the question. Okay, we have a repair here. It's not beautiful, but it's strong, flexible, probably waterproof. What I need to try and do now is see if that can be in some way sanded down and made smoothed off. Right, so I have a multi-tool here with a P60 grain sandpaper, and I'm just going to try on this flat section here. First, I think I'll mask it so I don't damage all the other plastic on it. Right. Just taking off the rougher edges and I go down a grain and see down to 120. See if that does anything else. And that's not bad. It's got a kind of hairy texture to it now, but it's got that light colouring. But it's sort of taken off the rough parts. It's sort of worked. I'll try with a quick polish and then maybe might go back to the heat gun and see if I can sort of smooth that now. It's smooth now, raised still, but it's never going to not be raised. I'm going to just go over it one more time with the heat gun then and see if maybe the colouring will improve and I can sort of smooth it down from this point. I'm actually happy with that. It's got, yeah, discoloration. It's got a little fibre in it. But given that there's a crack under there, that crack is completely sealed. The edges are smooth now. It's not so rough as it was, not as rough as this part here, for example. So it seems to me a bit of sanding, a little bit of polishing, and then just cutting in the corners, the edges, with the plastic weld gun. Does a pretty good job. And I guess maybe, I don't know, epoxy or paint or something, just to sort of even up the colour later. I'll just leave it. I guess weathering will probably do the job. Yep. I'm not, at this point, 100% sure if using a welding rod on top of this sort of sutures is the way to go, or if I actually just melt the plastic around the sutures and melt it back over the top of them, but I'm not sure there's enough to do that. I didn't try it, I must say, and I probably should have. Seems to me that would save a bit of time of smoothing over this welding rod scar. But anyway, I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to show you the end result. Okay, that's that part done. So I'm finished sanding. I've just done some polishing. I'm about to do some, just clean up that plastic a little bit. There's a little bit of discoloration, but the repair itself is smooth and it's well repaired, and it's a permanent repair for sure, and it's waterproof. So I think it's a good way to go. Here's the unit cleaned up. That's the good side, and this is the repair side. Okay, so it's not beautiful, but it's functional. It is definitely fixed. Hey, Mr. Buffalo. You lost somebody.